This is Yep and That Too, hosted by Kerrie Roberts and Aaron Rice, a podcast for creatives discussing the craft and artistry of redefining success as we learn to maneuver through life with joy, contentment, and confidence. Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of Yep and That Too. We're so excited to be here. I am Kerrie Roberts. Hopefully you already know that. And here with my co-host, I was trying to figure out how to describe him. I'll work on that. Mr. Aaron Rice. Welcome.
Everybody knows who we are. If they are listening to the first episode, it's because they are a friend.
That's because you're related to me.
Exactly. Yeah, and related to Kerrie, not me, because my family's like, no, we hear him talk enough.
Yes. So every week, we're going to be posting these every other week. We're going to get together and have a conversation about being a creative, not necessarily a musician, but just any sort of creative, which really is like a human being that's breathing. You qualify for that. And what it means to be successful. How do we find joy? How do we find motivation? And we're just going to dig into that with everyone that we can pull into the conversation. And what is this podcast for you, Aaron?
If you know us, you're going to be asked to be on this podcast. That's what she means. What does this mean? We've been talking about doing this for years, 2 years, 3 years.
Yes.
And we are excited, nervous, all of the things to get this going. We chose the name Yep and That Too. Yep and That Too. Yep. And then, as happens with creatives, we pick something that sounds cool and it has what we think is the meaning, and then it sort of evolves. Kerrie, why Yep and That Too?
Because pretty much anything can, with the correct perspective, contribute to your view of success or your experience of success. So it's kind of like, yep, and that too. But we don't want to say it like that because it doesn't sound as cool. And so that's why I was on board with that name. I feel like also as a creative, I don't like to be boxed in, and it's a very open-ended title. And so we can just bring in anything. So yeah. And
then as we landed on it, for me, it kept, it's not just the original idea was, how do we redefine success? Because as creatives, as professionals in the music industry, we do this. It's the roller coaster. It's the up and down. And what propels you? Is it the climb, like a roller coaster does, and then the downhill? Yeah. But also it's this, but also it's that. So it just, it's redefining success. It's finding motivation. It's all of those things. So we were really excited to do it. Very excited.
So we'll have on music business professionals, other artists, people. I like it being said on the other side of the desk. You never know whatever people are creating. And part of my creative process is making things in the kitchen or the garden. So we're going to do little segments called like Kerrie's Kitchen Creations or something. So today I was going to just do a quick little chat on Cuban oregano. It looks like this. It smells and tastes a lot like regular oregano, but it's like more citrusy. And why this is important and kind of like part of my growth and success as being a gardener in South Florida is so many things grow differently down here. But this grows prolifically and it propagates like a dream. So you literally just like pop this in the ground and a whole new plant will grow. For those of you who don't know what propagate means, Aaron. So anyway, growing tons of this and then also drying it and learning how to dehydrate in my oven, in my convection oven, because my dehydrator broke on me. So using this in everything Italian that you can imagine. And I put it in tea as well. We call it the backyard blend.
You put Cuban oregano in Italian food?
Yes. What? Yeah. Well, it tastes like oregano. It's just got a little bit of citrus, like it's like a little bit of a tang. And then I just learned recently that people use it medicinally for like sore throats and teas. They make syrup. So I can't wait to get
I
into
just learned all
that.
that. I just learned all that too.
You
But
just
like
learned all that right this
just
second.
now,
So
I just learned
yeah,
that there was a thing called Cuban oregano.
there it is. Isn't it beautiful? Look at the colors. Mm,
I
yeah.
was I laughed a minute. I laughed a minute ago when you said it's like regular oregano. Have you seen the this
No,
is
I haven't. I'm sure
have
I
you seen
haven't seen it.
the Jeopardy clip when the answer was what is West Virginia and Alex said no, and the next person buzzed in and said what is
What is
regular
regular
Virginia.
Virginia?
That's what that made me think of.
I love it. What is regular
So
Virginia?
we're gonna do every
Fantastic.
week because the thing about you, Kerrie, and we've been friends for a long, long time, and we're gonna dive into
Hmm.
that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But you are always creative, always
I hope.
creative.
I hope so.
Very rarely are you just straight
Because then I
arrows.
die. Then I
You,
cease to exist.
you are. We've had this conversation. You are light and breezy and airy,
Yeah, airy
and so
water.
every
Mm.
week we are gonna do. What is Kerrie creating? What
Yeah.
crazy thing are you eating or drinking?
Yes.
Because sometimes you send me text messages and you're like, I'm having this. And I'm like, I don't even know what those words are, but I'm certainly not putting that in my mouth.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're
So,
gonna be educating. Oh, sorry, I have rosemary in my hand because it smells good.
so, as a critic, yeah,
You
that
don't
did.
know what to do with that.
I
Okay,
don't know what to do
question
with
for
roast.
you. What, Aaron, what qualifies you to be on a podcast like this, host a podcast like this? Just tell a little bit about your background and what qualifies you to do
Well,
this.
it's 2022. Do you have to be qualified to have a
No,
podcast?
but we actually would like to be.
um, I've been, for those of you, again, it's the first episode, you all know me, but for those of you in Kerrie's family who don't know me,
Yes.
um, I have been a songwriter for a professional songwriter for a little over 20 years, um, which just means I'm old. I've held quite a few different positions within the music industry. Songwriter, producer, label exec. And then about 5 years ago, I took a hard left turn and went to law school. So I'm now an entertainment lawyer. This is not a legal podcast.
No.
You will not get legal advice.
No.
Nothing I say is legal advice. This is about Aaron Rice, the songwriter and the creative. They do work together. A lot of people don't think they do, but I'm very creative in my legal practice, or I try to be. I I say that I am. I tell people I am. This is not that. This is not. There may be a legal podcast later in life. This is not that. This is Aaron Rice, the creative. This is how do we redefine or define what success looks like to the creative. Obviously, you and I both come from the music world, but our goal is to extend beyond just the musician, just the artist, just the songwriter, just the publisher, and bring all of those in. I spent years writing pop music, Christian music, country music. I've had quote unquote success as far as Billboard chart positions, radio success, awards, nominations, all of that. And my version and what was important to me changed in the 2 decades that I've been doing this. And what looks like success to me now is very different than what looked like success to me at the beginning and in the middle. So that's what I want to talk about. That's what you and I want to talk about. Does that answer? Is that?
It does. It does. I feel like actually I'm going to host you now for a second because I want you to brag a little bit. Just give us, you should
Why
sing
don't
for
you do
us.
that?
You should sing for us like your biggest hit. There's people who are going to be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Not your biggest, some of your biggest. There's so many. Just name some. Come on, hurry.
I wrote for an artist named Toby Mac. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote for an artist named Mandisa.
Mm-hmm.
For Toby Mac, I wrote, or co-wrote, I shouldn't say I wrote, co-wrote Made to Love, I'm For You, Get Back Up for Mandisa, Good Morning, Definition of Me,
Yeah.
Free. Um, I've gotten to work with some of my favorite people in the world. Rachel Lampa, Johnny Swim. Man, it yeah.
And you made a
So
living, like a real living, just doing music, which
a,
is
a,
a
le-
huge accomplishment.
a legit no day job
Yeah.
living.
Yeah, you did it.
Yes. So
Check the box.
check the box. And but and I loved it. And I still do. And um I still write. It took me a while to figure out, now that I'm a lawyer, how those things work together. And I took a year to learn how to practice law. And now I'm getting those. I'm in my brand new office
Yeah.
in Nashville, and there's going to be very tight shots for the next few weeks because we're painting walls and nothing's hanging on them. But yeah, so then later on in my career, I was able to get an imprint record label through EMI, all the way through the sale to Capital Christian. And we were part of that acquisition. Then law school.
Ta-da.
And now I
And
work
here
with
you
artists
are.
and writers and publishers, and in a different capacity.
Yeah. Same thing, but different. Yeah.
Yes. As
Okay.
if you needed. We're still
I
hosting
was
me.
just gonna dive in. No, I was gonna host myself. Go for it.
Okay. Yes, because as if you need an introduction.
No, I definitely do.
But, but it's different though. Like for a writer, you have to
Mm,
be a music fan. You have to like to know my name. You know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah, I
Uh,
get it.
y-
Yeah.
it's Kerrie Roberts by Kerrie Roberts.
Right. Yeah.
So,
My face is on the front. It's different.
yes.
Yes, I get
Yes.
it. So yeah, I have always, as Aaron said, just been a creative as soon as I was breathing. Um, and always wanted to pursue music and be an artist, be a pop star. That's all I wanted since I was like 5. So I went after it hard and had a lot of disappointments and tons of slammed doors, and finally walked through one that was open, and signed with Provident, which is a Christian label, or I think it was Essential that I signed with, but it doesn't matter. It's under Sony, but it's a Christian label, and I released 2 albums with them. And then after that deal was over, continued as an independent artist on the road full time. I was on the road, I don't know, because prior to that, I was a background singer. I was on the road for a long time. I want to say 12 years. I don't know. It was a long time. Got married, still stayed on the road, then jumped into a whole new creative endeavor, which is having children, then moved to Florida, which is where I am now. And now I continue to release singles as an independent artist. I still do fly dates. I'm a mom. I worship, I lead worship locally here a lot, trying to figure all that out. So there's still lots of creative avenues in the kitchen, in the garden as well. And have gone through many evolutions of my perspective of success, mostly out of like necessity of survival, and to be able to maintain the certain level of joy and satisfaction that I require out of life. So for me, that's why doing this podcast is important. I'm wanting to just spread that message and help encourage as many people as I can, that you do not have to hold yourself hostage to the original vision that you had in your head of your life when you were 5 or 7 or whatever it is, that as life changes and ebbs and flows, you can still find that place of success and joy and satisfaction where you are, at the same time maintaining goals and looking forward and all of that. So I believe that can be true and accessible for everyone. So
That
that is
is
why I'm
so
here.
good. Gosh, that's so good. Because we get this, this is what I want to do. This is what I worked so hard for. And sometimes in life, you have to lay it down,
Mm-hmm.
not because, and that doesn't mean you're not successful.
Right.
That can mean I'm going to be personally successful and
Right.
just be done with that chapter for a moment.
It's like holding on to the super awful thing just because you poured so much into it and you're like, oh, I gave so much to it. I can't let it go. And then it's like, but it's awful.
Right.
Like, get out. Don't
And
give
it
any
doesn't make you
more.
happy.
No.
No.
Have the courage. Yeah.
We
So
will
that's why we're here.
we will spend a little time. Well, we'll spend a lot of time going into both of our stories a little more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But man, let's that's so good. I was about to just dive in. We're going to save that. Let's talk about a little bit about how we met.
Yeah.
Why this works together, or why we hope this is going to work together
Right.
in episode 1. In all 8 minutes we've done it so far, why it works so well.
Yes. Okay. I don't remember the year that we met. We have a mutual friend who I traveled the world with this amazing woman. We were background singers for Engelbert Humperdinck. Lacey, I love
which
you.
which I still
And
love.
yeah, lots of swaying and snapping and oohing and eyeing and
And casinos.
yeah, casinos and then all over the world. I mean, just incredible travel experiences. I'm so thankful for that. But Lacey knew my heart. She knew I wanted to be an artist. She knew Aaron because they had worked together at a restaurant before he was even a writer, but she knew he was a writer. And
Well, I was a writer. I just wasn't a professional. I was doing this
okay,
starving artist
gotcha.
thing. I was
Yeah,
still writing. I
got
just
you. Yes,
hadn't signed a deal. Yeah.
important distinction. So she introduced us, and one of the great things about Aaron is he follows the passion. He's not really about your accolades or, everyone has to play the game, I guess, to a certain extent. But if Aaron sees something or he believes in something, he's going to go after it. And he thought I was a good writer and a good singer. And so we wrote some really great stuff. Maybe we'll release one day, and some stuff that we have released. But back in those early days, I mean, I love that stuff. We were just doing pop. It wasn't even Christian music. So yeah, we were just in the studio 1 million years ago.
You know, something you said is important to me, and I think anybody who knows me knows this. Excuse me. I so few times care about accolades and the industry's version of success. And honestly, I think it's not past tense. I still think you're a great writer. Yes.
Well, thank you.
But you sang, and I was like, oh, you can sing. I'm not a singer, right? And
Right.
you know this about me.
Yeah.
Singers get me
Yeah.
to my core. My wife knows it. My daughter knows it. I'm like, but listen to them sing. You know what I mean? I don't even care what they're saying. Like,
sorry, you said that. I'm just picturing you with the mask. You're like Phantom of the Opera, where he's like, sing
exactly.
my aid.
But I came from, I'll get you a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are people that are singers and people that are songwriters, and then people like you who are both. And when I was in college, I was, the whole, well, they don't write their own stuff. I don't like, I was super snobby. Then I became a songwriter, and I was like, I'm not trying to sing. Nobody wants to hear that. So, anyway. But I remember sitting in those early on and just going, this is going to be fun. And we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah. And I think what's been important about our relationship is that it hasn't been based in industry success or really. What was crazy is we were friends. We wrote together for years, and then I signed my deal. And I mean, I'm sure you want to say it because look at the smirk on your face. And you didn't have any songs on those records after all those years of writing together, which is crazy. But that's not.
You know what though? And we will get to that story. We will.
Yeah.
We will get to that story. But what's funny is even as they were trying to sign you, they were calling me. Right? They knew we were friends. They were calling me, and I was going, she doesn't want a Christian deal. She doesn't want a Christian deal. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'll put you in touch with her. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And then it happened. And then politics. Or my songs just weren't good enough. But we didn't.
I don't even think we wrote together much.
Not one time.
No.
Not one time.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
And we will get to that story because it's not a story of like anger at all. I mean, I give you a hard time about it all these years later, still to this day. But it's part of the way the industry works and the machine. I was in a different company. You were at a different company. Not even that they were rivals, but as the money was shrinking, for them, success looked like the bottom line, for me, I was happy in your success. Anyway, so we were friends for a long time. And then we have both had the ups and downs and what the industry would consider success and what we personally consider success. And as we talk about it, and as we, sometimes we get to present together at different events or whatever, we talk about it, we go, man, we want people to understand it's not a straight line. It's not even the destination. It's the process. And it's the process, not the progress. It's the, and so here we are. Yep. And that too.
And that, like you said, we've been talking about it just through conversations, and then it just kept coming up over and over and over. Well, let's do a podcast. We want to share the message. So part of sharing the message too is at every episode, we want to share something that has inspired us this week, whether it be music, something we read, just something that has stirred our hearts, our sparkle and shine moment of the week. So Aaron,
we are not, no way are we calling
our glitter and shine, our glitter and shine of our hearts.
I'm a girl dad. I'm a girl dad who also, she's a dancer. There's plenty of sparkle and shine in my life.
I'm sure there is.
You are not bringing that to this podcast.
All right, share your moment.
So my moment of inspiration this week, actually, speaking of being a girl dad, and speaking of being a dance dad, for those of you who know me, or Kerrie, you know this, my daughter had her very first legit injury. And
okay, but first, he's not just like a dance dad. His daughter is legit incredibly talented beyond like the normal level of a small child human being. Anyway, yes.
She's quite gifted, and a hard worker. She's a hard worker, and she gets that from me. I mean, like I was a good writer, I wasn't the best writer, but I worked my butt off. And so that's what she does. But she also she's 11. She's doing auditions and work and all of that stuff. It's not like just Dance Moms competition world. But anyway, she was in a rehearsal a couple months ago and fell doing a tumbling. She's kind of one of the tumblers in her studio, and broke her arm. And broke her arm, had surgery. I mean, it was a bad break. Was cleared to resume activity last week. She had 9 days, about 9 days to get ready to have to be back on stage and also do that exact same thing. 9 days. My daughter is, she's a go-getter. She's a workhorse. She's also very sensitive. 1 minute before going on stage for the first time since that, she was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. What if I fall? What if I break it again? What if this? What if I'm not good anymore? My body, all of the things. And there were things that she wasn't saying that I knew she was thinking. What if I disappoint you? What if I let my team down? What if my teachers don't think I'm good? Right. So we had spent all week going, okay, it's probably not smart to do a back tuck on stage since you haven't done one in 9 weeks. It's probably not. So she's adjusting this dance and da 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 da. And there's one thing that she had to do in this dance that is honestly just scary. It was scary before she broke her arm. Never tried it. Not one time had she tried it since she broke her arm. A minute before going on stage, she was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, okay. But she had to go backstage and figure it out. And I just went out and they called her name and there she was.
Yeah.
Well, it was fine. It was good. For me, it was a win for her to get back on stage and fight through that fear. But then at the end of this dance, it's that moment of, what are you going to do? Because here comes that thing. And she was like, caution to the wind, whatever happens, happens. And she does this big, scary thing and honestly did it better than she had ever done it in her life. And got off stage. And I'm still like a little frustrated at, if you would have just been confident, we wouldn't have had all the drama, right? You know what I mean? Because that's me, right? I'm A, I'm a guy. B, I don't have that level of, I really care about your opinion of me that I wish I did have, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, whatever. But I look back at it and I go, man, she just overcame a lot as an 11-year-old and grew. And to her, success was getting through the stinking dance that she's been doing since she was 3. I mean, she's been on stage basically her whole life. But this time she was like, I don't think I can do it. Yeah. So I was super inspired by my child.
I love it.
So yeah.
Also, it's cool to just, I don't know, thinking about our friendship of just, now we're both married and we have children and wow, a lot has changed.
Well, yeah. Wow. What's more surprising? I have children or you have children?
Both pretty surprising.
Yeah. Exactly.
My moment of inspiration is really just experience, or an experience. I have always been very much focused on getting to the end and that check mark. Like, I'm one of those people, I still keep like a physical paper planner, and even in the things that I've already done, I'll like write them down so I can check them off. It's like so satisfying. This is what I need. So it's always been very hard for me to reach those levels of satisfaction of just what you said, where it's like, it's not the destination. It's the process. It's not even the progress. It's the process, in the learning. But I've been getting so much better at that. And I'm proud and I'm inspired. And so I've brought a very physical example of this happening in real life. So one of my things that I grew up doing all the time was like handicrafts, like knitting, crocheting, all of that. And haven't done it in forever, and I'm jumping back in. But I've never done a big, like, your face, you're like, what are you doing? Where are you going with this?
I want you to knit me a cap. That's all I'm thinking right now.
A cap? Yeah. That's so easy. I could knit you a cap. So anyway, I'm working on a sweater, this huge sweater. But so this is the back of the sweater. It's basically completely done. And as I've reached the back, I've noticed that I did like the decreases of the sweater incorrect. So there was a time when I would be like, no one can really notice. I'm going to put all the pieces together and my sweater will be done because I just want to get it done.
You for sure are unraveling that. I know you.
So we're for sure unraveling it.
Oh my gosh. That stresses me out.
It. Yeah, we're going to unravel the whole thing. I have a back, I have 2 sides, and I'm going to unravel it all and start at the beginning because I really want to just learn how to do the sweater, right? It's not about getting it done.
You guys who are listening and not watching, that was a full-on sweater. Oh my gosh, she is unraveling.
It's going away, and I can't wait when it's done. I mean, it's hooded, it's beautiful. I want it to be right.
But also, that looked awesome. Like, I'm like, oh, knit me a cap. I thought it was going to be like if I had my daughter knit me a cap. No, that looks like you can legit sell that.
You can legit wear what I make. Yeah, I made these cute little like slippers for the girls, and it's so fun. I mean, I'm just
you are so stinking talented at everything, and I'm like,
no.
Well,
It's just it gives me joy. Just like everybody else, sit there with my herbal creations, watching Little House on the Prairie, knitting a sweater.
So one of the things, if anybody is still listening to us, one of the things I love about this is it's not scripted.
No.
It is us chilling and talking, and I'm going to be honest and be real, and you are too. And real and honest, we recorded one of these a year ago and never put it out.
I forgot about
that. We did. It was good. But I think we have things. I know I have encouraging things I want people to be encouraged by, but I think we have things people in our shoes at any point in their journey can latch onto and hopefully be encouraged by.
Yeah.
So, and laugh, hopefully.
Yeah.
And get inspired to infuse stuff into other foods.
Herbal infusions. Look at you. You're learning.
And get oregano from Cuba.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It smells delightful.
So yeah, yep, and all of that too.
And all of that too. And we'll see you next time. Next time we're going to just sit down together one more time and just go a little bit more in depth into our stories. So you guys feel like you really, really know us. And then we have some really great guests. So we'll see you soon.
Follow us on all the things, Insta and and that too podcast.
Yes.
And a huge shout out to my wife who has just taken the reins in this. Part of the reason this didn't happen last year is because I couldn't do it. I did not have the bandwidth. And Kerrie has bugged me forever to do this. And my wife was like, yes, y'all have to do it. And so finally I just told both of them, I can host it. I can co-host it. I can be there. I can film. I can record.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else. And my wife has taken the reins as kind of the producer of the, the everything, social media manager, all of it. So follow us on all the things, and huge shout out to Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you to my husband, Kyle, for setting up everything tech.
Yes.
All of things, especially.
Yes. And for texting halfway through saying, is everything okay? Do you need help?
Yeah.
So we will talk to you guys next time.
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Yep and That Too, a podcast for creatives. Yep and That Too is hosted by Kerrie Roberts and Aaron Rice, co-produced by Sarah Rice and Maven Media Productions. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Yep and That Too Podcast, with new episodes every other Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. The information on this podcast is for general information purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice for any individual case or situation. This information is not intended to create, and receipt of or listening to does not constitute an attorney-client relationship.